E3 hosted by Rooster Teeth, the best, most professional outfit in town.
Absolutely.
That's us.
That's us.
In LA?
Yeah.
Come on.
Right, absolutely. I'm Ashley.
I'm Gus.
We didn't introduce ourselves.
I'm Adam.
But I guess we should.
Was there a before? I don't know if there was a before.
No,
Hey,
there
I'm
wasn't.
Bernie, everybody.
So, E3 kicking off now today. Saturday, EA is the first one to go. Their media briefing is coming up here in just a couple of minutes, like 20 minutes now, and we're going to watch it live with you guys.
Was EA the first publisher to have the big conference outside of E3? Because that
I
seems
think
to be the
so.
trend now.
I think they start with
Was it-
EA
Was
Play.
it not
Yeah.
Nintendo?
Nintendo's
What-
done their thing.
Yeah, I mean,
publicly
besides maybe
a
the
couple of
platforms,
times,
yeah.
but they did a partnership. Nintendo did a couple of years ago. I think it was Wii U stuff with Best Buy.
Best Buy,
So they
yeah.
did Best Buys around the
The
country.
Treehouse.
Yeah, but well, not even their stream, but they had a bunch of activations in Best Buys where people could go play the games that they were showing at E3. But then EA is the first one to, I think, set up shop outside E3.
And extending the conference while they're at it.
Yeah, so they are they're in Hollywood. They've got this whole event set up,
So
and they're
so basically we all show up a day early.
yeah, we all know E3 starts a day early because they want us to do a weekend event.
Thanks.
Thanks, EA.
But not only that, though, they're also pushing the envelope because they're holding the EA Play event across town. It's not even by the convention center. It's in Hollywood, and everything else is in downtown
Well, that's
LA.
probably why they hold it on Saturday. That way, when the event's over, you get in your car, and then by the time you're done driving, by the time Tuesday rolls around, you're in downtown.
The good news about this is that if this trend continues, that E3 will be a year-round event, and eventually part of it will be in your town as well. They'll start like moving further and further away from the date and from the place.
Hey, what are you doing in your living room, June 2025? We need about 300 square feet in your town.
Sweetie, there's someone named Reggie Fils-Aimé here to see you. He wants to talk to you about what's coming up.
It's like the old Wii commercials where the dudes show up with the Wii.
We would
At-
like to play.
Yeah, at the door. Yeah.
So what do you guys think EA is going to show this year? I mean, we know
Battlefield
5
5.
because they've revealed that.
Right.
We're expecting a lot out of Anthem.
Yeah, that's
FIFA, Madden. I mean, you got. I feel like.
Oh, no,
yeah,
now
sports-
you're reaching,
sports
Gus.
franchise.
I don't know that they're going to talk about
I feel
sports.
like-
Why would they do that?
I feel like we definitely know what we're in for with an EA conference. I feel like it's
They don't surprise too much.
right. Like last year, I think the big surprise at the EA conference was A Way Out, which turned out to be an amazing game. And I think that those are the things that maybe were that are going to surprise us, like the smaller titles, maybe some indie stuff that we're not expecting. Because I think that's what I'm always most surprised at with the EA conference.
And they do a pretty good job, too, of having at least one or two pretty solid indies that they spotlight. Last year, A Way Out, which I think EA published, but I still consider an indie just the way it was developed. They went ahead and published it, but all of the control stayed with the developer. So the developer made the calls like only needing one copy to do co-op. And it released for, was that a $30 game?
I believe
Was,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so the developer had the freedom to set all of those details, and then EA helped them get the word out. I thought that was pretty cool,
Yeah.
and I'd like to see them do that with another game this year because I thought EA treated A Way Out very well.
I think that something I'm expecting to hear today is the phrase, "We've listened to our community." I think we're going to hear that a lot. We're going to hear that specifically around Battlefield, and if they do anything around Battlefront.
And then probably Anthem as well, right? We'd probably hear some.
Do you
not
think
gonna do
we'll
beta,
hear
but-
the word loot box or
I think we're going to
microtransaction
hear
at all?
no pay to win.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they really went hard on that with the Battlefield 5 reveal. They were like, and this is great news, no pay to
They
win.
actually use the phrase "pay to win." Really?
Yeah, it was in like a bunch of tweets and social media they did. They're really trying to drive that message home, which means you can expect all kinds of cosmetic loot boxes.
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job finally when they came around with Battlefront 2 and sort of fixed all of the, not fixed, but adjusted all of their microtransactions to exclude things like star cards
Yeah,
and
well-
only include cosmetics.
And it is important to note, I guess, that they did at least remove the microtransaction, the loot box stuff from Battlefront 2 the night before it launched. So it at least didn't launch with all that stuff. It's just the people who had EA access and who could get in before the game technically launched who had access to it. And they did say it was temporary, it's coming back and all that, but they at least took it down before launch and reworked it.
Yeah, I hope we're going to see, like, this is, a lot of people are asking for this, but hopefully we'll see something out there like Skate 4. But, you
Dead
never know.
Space, speculation, Dead Space.
Do we know who owns that IP now? Because Visceral shut down,
Well,
right?
Visceral was part of EA. Though.
Right. So
Right.
I guess,
I guess
the
EA
ownership
would
just
own it.
roll up into EA.
Well, I
But-
think if an outlier possible announcements, I think I'm hoping for Dead Space, some kind of
Yeah.
announcement at the C3 about a new Dead Space game, because I'd love to play it. But I think I'm curious what the trajectory for EA is. Like, if I look at them and I look at the titles they have and the depth of like licensed content they have, I just like, it wouldn't surprise me if somewhere down the road, if like there was an acquisition by Disney or something major, because Disney doesn't have any kind of presence really in interactive. You know, nothing super strong. Not
They
like
did,
an
but
EA
they
or
shut down a lot of it.
yeah, the Disney interactive stuff. Yeah, but they focused a lot. I mean, Disney's strategy has changed a lot with Marvel now and Lucasfilm as well, and so it's wide open. If you saw the Wreck-It Ralph trailer, they have this trailer about Wreck-It Ralph goes to the internet, but they basically just go to the Disney website.
It's a Disney commercial.
Yeah, it's a huge Disney commercial. So it's like they have to realize that they don't have a play in that world, in the video game world. Might be why they took
The
Ralph out of
closest-
video games.
The closest, really, at this point, is Kingdom Hearts, which also hoping to hear a whole bunch more about with Kingdom Hearts 3, but that'll be on Monday during the Square Enix conference, which starts bright and early.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think a game like Kingdom Hearts could be made again, but now it can be across a lot of all these different franchises because
It's
they're
been-
all under one roof.
It's a lot easier after all the acquisitions.
is.
Once you own every property, hey, no problem.
I probably put a clause in there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think I think a Skate 4 or a Skate something remastered is not out of the question. There's been a lot of chatter about it. They just turned all the old Skate games servers back up.
Yeah, that was cool.
So that's kind of weird and crazy, interesting. People have been asking for Skate 4 for years. It's a more niche genre than a lot of the fields that they're playing in with like Madden and stuff, but like Skate diehards really love Skate. I know you had some great experiences with Skate.
Me?
Well, with Tony Hawk.
Oh yeah, I played a ton of Tony Hawk back on the Dreamcast in those days. I never really played much Skate.
Which
but-
one did you biff it on the Q?
Oh, that was Tony Hawk Ride when
Yeah.
they had the skateboard controller.
Three.
Yeah,
Man,
I
that
was,
video was so good.
I was trying to relive my glory days of skating as a teenager, and I fucking lost it.
When I was a
Fell flat on my ass.
Man, when I was a teenager, I aspired to skate. I had a skateboard. I just wasn't really good at it, and we had no sidewalks where I grew up, and the roads were all graveled, so couldn't do a whole lot there. So I basically skated up and down my driveway.
Really?
Yeah, and that was about the extent of it. But I was like, I'm so cool.
Once you hit the gravel, that kind of caused a problem for you, then.
Yeah, I the first time. I went, "Boom."
But a big thing for developers and publishers is, you know, they have to put on these huge productions to announce these titles, but they have to keep them secret as well, which is really, really tough to do. I mean, you know, in the movie industry, you kind of know what's coming down the pipe because you always hear about so-and-so signed on to a project,
Right.
you know, or things like that. The video game industry tries to keep everything secret right up until the announcement of the thing, basically until the first trailer comes out. And they're getting worse and worse at it.
Yeah.
But it's hard with this.
Well, they have to work with retailers. I mean, that's what I feel like.
Yeah.
That's where the leak always happens. It's always like a retailer puts it up early or leaks some art or some kind of
Yeah.
detail. Like
Yeah.
that's what happened this year with Rage 2.
Oh, that was the
Oh, the whole
Walmart,
Walmart,
Canada
yeah. Right.
leak, and a bunch of those have now been confirmed. So one of the reasons to treat that list with skepticism is Final Fantasy VII Remake was also listed, and we don't think that's really feasible for a launch this year.
Trust Walmart.
We'll see what happens Monday morning with Square Enix if they've got some crazy surprise for us, and they've been pulling the hood over our eyes this whole
I like the
time.
idea of a Walmart web developer who just is a video game fan and wants to see certain titles come back. And he's just like, oh, yeah, sure, Metroid. We'll put that in. And they kind of have to make it at that
That
point.
kind of drives development. It's like, well, shit, people obviously wanted it. I guess we got to do something about it.
It's a good gig if you can get it. But I also think that the way that they promote these games is now affecting the way that they promote the games, because I really believe that Fallout 76 was announced by Bethesda because they had to start painting the side of that building. And there's no way you can hide.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
There's this kind of culture around the convention center, around E3, where there's certain locations that have just big blank walls, or the front of the convention center itself. It's always interesting to see, for me to see what games get placement in those places.
Right. There's the big one is the Wall of the Fig, which is a hotel that's just across, and that's the one, the 3-panel one that you see photos of every year. There's usually a huge one over each door, and then there's a big one that goes along the wall of the convention center. And this is all on the outside.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's usually like these 4 really big promo spaces, and it's really interesting to see because the publishers are clearly betting big on those ones.
And if
Those
Vault
are
Boy
not cheap.
goes up a week before, you know, guess what? It's not just a coincidence.
Yeah, there's not much you can hide. You can't paint the Vault Boy last because you're still painting like a vault. or like the wasteland.
You could bait and switch and just write Fallout Shelter and peel it off, and it's Fallout 76 underneath.
Or you could just do a massive Vault Boy mural and then right at the bottom, Banksy. And everyone will just think it's vandalism.
We should get on that list. Let's put something on there next year. Let's pick a game that doesn't exist and pay to have it painted on the side of that hotel, just to, like, give everyone a fake out.
On the list of many jobs that I could not do in my lifetime, painting something the size of a building is right near the top of that list.
Is it because of?
I have no idea how they do it.
Is it because of the skill of it, or is it because of the heights?
Adam, it's like you're there with a brush and you're painting here.
Yeah, I get that. But I'm
Yeah.
talking about, is it the heights or the skill?
They
It's
use really
scale.
tiny brushes. To be clear, they're using like little like painter's brushes and palettes, just on the side of a building.
Really? Like they're just using like Bob Ross?
They're using like 3 bristle brushes to
Making
get
a happy little vault boy.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's a really peaceful kind of job.
It'd be awesome if you get like an 8-foot wide roller though. Then I might be able to do it. And I could stand back like 3 blocks, then I might be able to do it.
Or maybe that's what you do. You put on like a headset that's like a third-person perspective of a drone camera that's floating way back behind you. That way, as you're painting, you're seeing it from that perspective instead of up close.
2 years it'll all be holograms anyway.
Yep.
They'll be out of business, all these painters.
It'll be just a giant QR code in your AR device will overlay. It'll be like the Jaws thing in Back to the Future 2 where it comes out and attacks Michael J.
Or
Fox.
to be Reggie Fils and me at your house, just telling you what's what. He'll change the channel on your TV for you.
Addressing you directly by name.
Have we seen anything about anything Star Wars related aside from potentially more Battlefront 2 content?
We saw a whole studio got shut down.
Yeah, right. I'm saying that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything about the Visceral project since. I guess they said they were gonna take it, rework it, use what assets they could, but whatever they were making, this probably Uncharted-ish direction adventure game, they decided they want no interest. They have no interest in because it's not appropriate for games as a service. And which just hearing that is soul crushing.
Yeah.
But I would be very interested in seeing if they're going to announce something new this year, because otherwise, Star Wars wise, it's probably just more Battlefront 2 content.
I always love to see like when those things get leaked over time, projects that almost happened but didn't, and that Star Wars project.
Like
looked amazing.
1313.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked amazing.
Do you-
Halo MMO from years ago. That was.
Oh,
They
right.
released some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like the original Halo Vision. It was like in the post Warcraft era, where somebody was working on, independent developer was working on, I shouldn't say independent, but third party developer was working on a Halo MMO that was very much in the style of like the WoW MMOs.
Do you think we're going to see anything from Mass Effect? I don't know
would
that
bet-
they're going to do it, but I'd like to see a Mass Effect trilogy remaster so they can at least try and, recoup some of their costs from Andromeda.
Yeah.
I would bet no.
And also so that I can have Mass Effect remastered, because
Well, they already, on the Xbox One, I think, isn't Mass Effect already on the backwards compatible?
yeah, it's backwards compatible, which is great. It's a nice way to be able to play those games again. But if I were to be able to play the original Mass Effect trilogy in 4K, I wouldn't complain.
No, I wouldn't complain either. I would go back and replay the Mass Effect games. You know what really got me really interested in Mass Effect was watching the Lost in Space series that just came out on Netflix. That is so heavily influenced by Mass Effect, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like the entire robot.
The robot is very Geth-like. Let's just put it that way. Have you seen it, Adam? Have you seen
I've
that?
seen the first few episodes.
Yeah.
And yes, he is very death-like.
And even the aesthetic, I love that kind of like, Mass Effect did this well. It took like that 70s style sci-fi or early 80s and like then moved it forward into the future. You know what I mean? And I always like that, like clean white surfaces and things like that. I always really enjoyed that kind of stuff. And also Mass Effect does something that early sci-fi did really well, which is like there's a horrific aspect to it. Like the husks and what they do with people.
Oh, right.
It's just really, it's kind of horrifying, you
It's
know?
awesome.
Or even the Reapers and everything like that. It's just, sci-fi always did a really good job of like doing these really like heady horror films that were kind of disguised as sci-fi, like stuff like Alien and Aliens. But Star Wars, and as we leaned more into that, kind of bubblegum sci-fi, it got a little bit more clean. And I always liked kind of Mass Effect getting back towards that, especially for something by a publisher like EA.
Now we're about 5 minutes out from the EA briefing starting. It's coming up quick. I want to give you guys a heads up, bit of housekeeping. We're not going to have a whole podcast going during the presentation. We will try and focus as much on that as we can, but we will have reactions if we think something is really cool or particularly dumb, and we might tag things for discussion after the briefing. So this won't be full radio silence with pure presentation. There are plenty of places that are doing that. We'll have a couple of reactions, but we'll try not to overshadow it and try not to make it confusing. So you can hear everyone in the briefing talk as well and get the information that you want to get. But I want to give you a heads up about that because some people get taken by surprise when we like, oh my God.
Well, try not to speculate though, because sometimes you can realize what's coming right before it comes, and I don't want to speculate.
You want to save the speculation?
Pre-spoil.
We'll do a wrap up at the end, maybe.
Exactly
and
right.
Talk
Yeah.
about some of our favorites and things that we saw during that stream.
Yeah,
Alright.
so we'll stick around for a little bit after the briefing. We'll talk about the things that we liked, the things that we weren't huge fans of, preview what we've got tomorrow. Tomorrow is the Xbox and Bethesda briefings, so that'll be a lot of fun. But I didn't want to start the briefing without at least like a little bit of a heads up about how we treat it differently.
Well, before we head into the EA one, do you want to talk about a little bit about the coverage and the schedule for what's coming for this weekend and week to come?
Yeah, we got a lot of it.
Yeah.
So we're doing this briefing. Obviously, we've got Xbox tomorrow and Bethesda tomorrow. Monday, we're starting bright and early with the Square Enix presentation. We'll be doing a pre-show like this from 9:30 a.m. and running all the way through the PlayStation presentation and then doing a bit of a post-show on that. So you can stick with us all day long. And then starting on Tuesday, that's when the E3 show floor actually opens. That's when E3 officially begins. And we'll be doing the Nintendo briefing that morning, and then we kick into our full day of coverage. We've got a lot of really amazing games and really amazing developers coming on, so we'll be doing 10 to 4 Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with a bunch of guests. We'll be sharing more about those guests too as we get closer to it. A bunch of them in our schedule are still unannounced game, so we're going to find out what it is we're going to show you in some of those cases, but we will have a bunch of EA titles. We're going to be doing a little bit with the EA Sports team. On Tuesday, we've got Anthem, so we'll be talking to them, Battlefield 5 as well. So we'll be basically taking what we learned at this briefing and then getting more detail from the developers about those games and getting more gameplay and all that stuff. So I hope you guys are able to tune into that. If you're not, we'll be posting up the individual segments on the Know afterwards, so you can use it like an a la carte menu and pick which ones you want to learn about specifically. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's like every year this is a huge project for us. We have a lot of fun doing it. We're all exhausted. Thank God for coffee. I worship at that altar.
All right, well, we are about 3 minutes away at this point from EA Play.
I'm so excited.
How can people reach out to us if they want to talk to us during this?
So we are monitoring. We're monitoring the chat on both the Rooster Teeth YouTube channel and the Know channel. I've got Rooster Teeth right here. If you're seeing snarky comments, that might be from me. Adam is manning the Know channel chat right now. We'll all hop into those as well and monitor as best we can while trying not to get too distracted by the chat to talk.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of chat. People are excited. We've got a lot of people watching, and I think everyone's ready to finally just to kick off E3. I think we wait all year for this, all the big news to come out, and so don't let us down, EA. You brought us out here a day early. Make it worth our while.
Although, can I just say that it seems like this year E3 started at the beginning of May. Everyone's been announcing everything. They announced Hitman 2. They did the Fallout announcement. They announced Rage 2. They announced the I'm losing track at this point. The last couple of days in particular, there have been so many announcements that I can't even follow them all.
People seem to be doing a lot more reactive announcements now. Like, oh, this keychain from Assassin's Creed is here, and like an hour later, Assassin's Creed's like, yeah, we're making that game. That's cool.
Yeah, I feel
Thanks,
like
guys.
That's another one.
In the past, the course was always, I think, to ignore any leaks or
Yeah.
ignore anything like this until the conference and then just show it there. But you're right, I think it's a lot more reactive now, and I
Yeah.
think they're trying to get out in front of it and control the messaging.
Yeah, Rage did a particularly good job of that, I thought.
I thought, yeah, critiquing the Walmart 2 art, how it was off-brand, I thought was really, really great.
Yeah, well, and if that really is reflecting the tone of the game, it seems like that game is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Like the kind of like fill, especially the niche we're not getting right now with the lack of new Borderlands.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because you just referred to E3 as a conference. Now that it's open to the public and has been for, this is the second year, right? That it's been
Yeah.
open to the public?
Oh,
Is it a conference or is it a convention?
we're 1 minute out.
Conference.
You still call it a conference?
Yeah, I still call it a conference. Yeah, it's. I think the focus is definitely on the conference aspect, and it's kind of pivoting maybe towards convention.
Yeah.
But I think I still definitely consider it conference.
And it is one of those events that I think you actually are better off watching it from afar. And I wouldn't say that about every live event. But
It is-
E3, you get way more information, I think,
Yeah, we're
tuning in from home.
here, and we're still going to see almost nothing
Yeah.
of it.
We will learn a lot from people in the chat.
Yes. every night I have to review streams and stuff that I saw online to make sure that I'm informed to talk about whatever we're talking about the next day.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate in the coverage that we do because a lot of the games and developers will come to us. Just like we're about to go to the EA briefing. Let's do this. I'm so excited. Okay, ready? 9, 8, 7, 6.
What's next? Oh, 5.
Oh,
4.
shit. Did not see it coming.
1, and it starts.
And it starts. Mine was closer.
Wow.
Okay, that's cool.
Oh, so it's happening.
See, I wonder what that looks like live.
Is it just a win screen?
Oh my gosh, how cool is that? So that was Anthem. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. But welcome everybody to EA Play. I'm Andrea Renee, and while you might recognize me from the gaming community, I'm kind of a new face around here. So this year, EA wanted to change things up because they know that I'm both a gamer and a fan. So they invited me to come and host the show. And I think this year is going to be a lot of fun, you guys. I hope you're ready because we're about to kick the press conference off. But before we do that, EA Play is more than just the show you're about to watch. Right behind these doors, there is a fan fest outside, and it is huge this year. It's a full 3-day gaming festival where thousands of gamers can come and play games for free. Now, inside the theater here, there are hundreds of community members from all over the world who are going to be capturing, streaming, and getting their first impressions of the games that we're going to be showing off here today. But before we can get to that, we've got some reveals, of course. We're going to kick things off with a look at Battlefield 5 multiplayer. Now, I know Trevor Noah gave you the first look. Yeah, we can clap it up. Last month, but we've got some new stuff to show you today. Then we're going to move on to FIFA 19, and boy, do they have some big news, you guys. Any World Cup fans? You guys excited? Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Then we've got 2 new indie games to share, and then I'm going to come back towards the end of the show with some of my favorite developers to give you guys a nice, meaty look at Anthem. And of course,
I like meat.
yeah, we got the woos for Anthem. I'm into it. You want to do this with me? Well, wouldn't it be fun, you guys, if I told you all the secrets at once, right? Well, give him a break. He needs to just enjoy the show. So without further ado, let's get things started.
Wow, she's a great choice, man. She's so natural.
Yeah, Andrea Renee is she's part of What's Good Games. They're awesome. If you aren't familiar with them, you should absolutely check them out.
Okay.
A long transition, maybe.
Right, it's time to kick this thing off. It's been 2 weeks since the reveal of Battlefield 5. And you know what? It's been exciting, there's been a lot of speculation, and so many brilliant remixes of a reveal trailer. But there's also been lots and lots of questions from the community. And we've heard you want to see more gameplay innovations. You want to know how customization actually works, and you want to know more about our take on the Second World War. So today, we'll show you more gameplay and why this is the deepest and most immersive Battlefield yet.
It certainly is. You will be able to dive and smash through windows to surprise your enemies. Where previously defenses were stationary, you will now be able to move these weapons around on the battlefield and gain advantages. And our renowned distraction system is back and more impactful than ever. So, well, you can't really hide from those pesky tanks anymore as they come chasing it for you, as they rip through those buildings. And you will now be able to customize your soldiers, your vehicles, and your weapons, not only for the gameplay, but for the looks, as part of our portrayal of the Second World War.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg in Battlefield 5. You're going to see a lot more of our new gameplay systems here at EA Play from our community. So let's talk about our single player in War Stories.
Yes, let's do that. So we want to tell you about those untold stories that got us excited to start with on this game. It's about, what you will see is really those moments of human heroism. It is about witnessing the war through the eyes of the men and the women who shaped the world forever. Real and relatable people facing the brutality of war. We started off by an exclusive look at the Nordlys war story over at the Xbox briefing tomorrow.
Thanks, Lasse. Something not to miss tomorrow. So, our launch in October is just the beginning. You will all go on an expanding journey through the Second World War. No loot boxes, no premium pass. Every day will bring something new. And as part of that journey, after launch, you'll get something I know a lot of you have been asking for.
It's Royale. It's Royale reimagined for Battlefield. So we bring those pillars of Battlefield with destruction, team play, vehicles into this new experience. So we will bring you experience that you haven't played before in Battlefield or anywhere else. But more about that later this year.
So with that, it's time to show you what makes Battlefield so special. It's the unmatched intensity of our multiplayer sandbox, and this time, it's even more epic, fighting across multiple maps and modes. Welcome to your next Battlefield experience, and this is your first look at ground operations. And this time, even featuring music.
Ikke en dråpe. Jeg elsker deg.
Sus!
Quando eu era criança, sempre sonhei em tornar-me um campeão. É preciso determinação e vontade de vencer. Até mesmo nos momentos mais difíceis, tu tens de continuar a acreditar. Esta é a tua oportunidade de te mostrares ao mundo. Tu és um campeão.
surprising.
Well, I mean, I'm shocked. I wasn't sure they were going to do another
Really
FIFA
quickly,
game.
Battlefield, being back in World War II, will draw me back into the Battlefield series for sure.
That's where I started. 1942 was
Yeah.
the jam.
I was hoping Battlefield 1 would draw me in, just didn't quite, but I know that will.
It was a good game.
Also, they kept, you can see the kind of legacy of Bad Company in the destructibility of the buildings,
yeah.
you know?
I wish they'd make another Bad Company.
I know, we all do, but.
That's the UEFA Champions League, the pinnacle of club football, where the world's best clubs compete and icons of the game like Gerrard and Cruyff cemented their legacies. The world's biggest league joins the world's game. And a special thanks to the legendary Hans Zimmer and LA's own Vince Staples for collaborating with us on the trailer. And I really love the trailer because it captures our epic vision for how the Champions League comes to life in FIFA 19. And Lena's going to tell you a little bit more about that.
As Aaron said, the UEFA Champions League is an amazing addition for the game. It's where football's biggest heroes like Ronaldo and Neymar clash every year. And it's the place where champions rise. And you've been asking for this for a long time, and we are thrilled that it's here. And that's why we're bringing the Champions League across the game. There'll be an authentic Champions League tournament mode. Your club will chase this trophy in career mode. Alex Hunter will pursue Champions League glory in your story mode, The Journey, and in FIFA Ultimate Team, there'll be live and authentic Champions League content. And we'll share more details on that, along with all our other Ultimate Team features later this summer.
And all that's just the beginning. As you know, the heart and soul of FIFA is gameplay. And this year, we're giving you the tools to control the pitch in every moment, from your tactical approach to the match to each technical touch. And we know how passionate you are about gameplay, so we've worked hard to shape and refine our vision for FIFA 19 with input from our community. From hands-on tests with beginners to detailed feedback sessions with FIFA pros. And we're going to be sharing a lot more about gameplay throughout the summer, but what I can tell you right now is that the quality bar in gameplay was raised yet again this year. So we look forward to everybody experiencing the game on the hands-on sessions this week. And also, of course, we're extremely excited for everybody to play it when we launch on September 28th. And that's our FIFA 19 news, headlined by the UEFA Champions League. But I just wanted to take a minute to pause and reflect. Standing next to this trophy is a little bit surreal. You know, growing up, there's two iconic trophies that every young player dreams of winning. And for your club, it's this one, the pursuit of Champions League glory. But for your country, it's this trophy, the World Cup. And with the tournament starting in just 5 days, we're excited for the world to compete for it in FIFA 18.
As you can imagine, all of us on the FIFA team can't wait for the start of the World Cup. And we want to celebrate with FIFA 18 players, which is why we've just updated the game with a free World Cup experience on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PS, PC, and Nintendo Switch. But you can take Ronaldo and Portugal to their first World Cup victory. Or you can write your own story with some great nations who didn't qualify this year. Or you can make a crazy dream a reality for your home country, like mine, Iceland. Who would have thought that a nation of only 350,000 people would ever qualify? And you can feel their excitement.
Apologies to any England fans in the room, that might still sting. And Lena isn't the only one who's excited. FIFA 18 players are loving the World Cup experience so far. But we don't want to stop there. We want to invite everyone to come and join the celebration. So I'm pleased to announce that for a limited time, FIFA 18 complete with the entire World Cup experience is available for a free trial on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and on PC through Origin Access. Yeah, you can download and play the entire game right now for free.
It's a good time to make the World Cup.
Yeah,
Makes sense. Yeah.
it's not my usual game genre, but I think that's actually very cool.
So to kick off the trial, we've got some of the world's biggest creators who are going to be playing live at the end of the show, representing their nations in a little mini World Cup tournament.
And this summer will bring so much more for FIFA fans. Plenty of FIFA 18 content centered around the World Cup, and we'll bring you all the details on FIFA 19. But in the meantime, let's all enjoy the World Cup. Thank you, and auf Ravistan!
I would love to see EA. That's the old business model. Flash is going to be like demos, trials, and then it goes to paid after that. That's the kind of like free-to-play that I would like to see more of.
Yeah.
Well, and
a great entry
something
point.
like this is easier to do because this is a very regular annual franchise.
Yeah,
So it's easier for them to take like the, sales are going down on 18. They're getting rid
Well,
of
with all the marketing around the World Cup, why not tie into that? I mean, everyone's going to be really keyed into it, even people who are
in the years afterwards.
right.
FIFA 19, the FIFA community never rests. 20 million people from 60 countries playing in competitive leagues this year. Well, the FIFA team never rests either, bringing the Champions League and the World Cup and so much other greatness to FIFA this year. We can't wait for you to experience it all. We've got so much to do here today, but I want to welcome you to EA Play. It's our third EA Play and our second one in Hollywood, and we couldn't be more excited to have you with us to share all the games that we have to show you. We've got lots to do, but before we move on, I'd like to share just a couple of things. The greatest disruption to the consumption of entertainment media in the last 5 years is the combination of streaming plus subscription. As consumers, watching movies, watching TV, listening to music, reading books has never been easier. And we believe that disruption is going to have a profound impact on our industry in the next few years. And so over the last couple of weeks, you will have seen that we announced a new team from Israel has joined Electronic Arts to help our investment to extend our thinking and extend our pioneering into this cloud gaming world. For many people, that's going to mean extending the experiences they already play on our partner platforms. For others, it's going to mean new games and new modalities of play across a whole variety of platforms. But for everyone, it's going to mean playing games anywhere, anytime. So this week we've got a tech demo running. All of our games streaming in HD from the cloud to multiple devices that you'll be able to try out for yourselves. Now, it's not quite ready for full market prime time yet, but it is a promise of what we hope to bring you in the future. The second part of that, of course, is subscription. And we started subscription a number of years ago, and many millions of you have signed up and experienced the joy of being able to have full access to a great catalog of games. Today, we're announcing Origin Access Premier. So 3 things you need to know about it. Origin Access Premier will bring you all of our new PC games, starting with Madden NFL, back on the PC for the first time in over a decade. Then FIFA 19, Battlefield 5, and of course Anthem. And there'll be many more titles in the years to come. Second, you get access to the Vault, our library of over 100 games from EA and other publishers. And third, it will launch later this summer. So that's a little later in the year, but if you want to get started right now and experience the benefits and joys of subscription, come in and play a free trial of Origin Access, our base subscription, this weekend. Thank you and have a great show.
They seem to be putting Origin a little more front and center this year.
Yes, they mentioned it earlier too.
Yeah, it was in the FIFA announcement. Just want to say real quick, Madden on PC I'm actually pretty excited about. It would be great if there was a mode where you could let the game play itself, so that you could just run like a manager season. I've always liked that about PC sports games, and it seems to be left out of consoles these days.
I think they have that now.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, what's up? So I'm here sitting inside the crowded EA Play, and I just happened to find Mr. Vince Zampella here in the audience from Respawn. What's going on, Vince? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I love this stuff. I love seeing new games.
I mean, someone's super excited about that meta on PC, right? Yeah. So,
What are you
you guys
working
may
on,
have
Respawn?
seen
Yep.
that Vince
Talk to me
was
good.
tweeting yesterday, and there has been a bunch of speculation. So, you want to just get right to it?
Sure. I mean, we're not ready to show all of our stuff yet. We're working on a bunch of stuff. It's amazing. The teams are kicking ass. But we wanted to bring a little tidbit. So we've been working with Lucas on getting the name and kind of the setting for what our Star Wars game is going to be. And we're going to talk about it right now.
Oh, you guys got any guesses? I bet you the internet is going wild right now.
I hope so. So the Star Wars name is Jedi Fallen Order.
Woo! So Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, so it kind of gives you some idea that you'll be playing a Jedi.
So does that mean I get to like hold a lightsaber?
What?
Yes.
In a Star Wars game?
So Vince, you got anything else?
Well, it takes place during the Dark Times. Trying to be a little vague here, but when the Jedis are being hunted, so it's going to be spectacular.
So for all the hardcore nerds out there who
Between
want to
3 and
know
4?
like where in the
Sounds like
timeline, like
I
which
think so.
episodes is it?
There you go, bro.
Between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
It was a
between
tough
3 and
question.
4.
Love it.
That sounds
We're
like a
good at
nice
this.
time. You got any other tidbits? No?
It's not a nice,
It's a dark time.
it's a dark time.
Bad time. Does that mean it's gonna just be all dark and serious?
It's amazing.
All right, so I think people are
Happening.
now anxiously want to know, like, when can we play the game?
It will be holiday of next year, 2019, not this year.
So, sorry to dash any hopes.
They're not going to show anything though?
But now that we know,
sounds
we
like
can
they're
set
not.
expectations. We're all going to be amped up, and hopefully we'll hear more from you. Maybe next year.
They're not going to make Holiday
Oh,
19
yeah.
then.
Well,
It's only a year and a half away.
It was great to see you. Thanks for stopping by the show today.
They would have something to show.
We do have a little bit more news on Star Wars, so I'm going to toss it over to Dennis.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I'd want like a cinematic, non-gameplay trailer of another Star Wars thing at this point, though.
Yeah.
Hello there. My name is Dennis. I work at DICE in Stockholm
Dennis.
on Star Wars Battlefront 2. I'm really happy and excited to be here today, so thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit. So we launched our game in November of last year, and clearly we didn't get it quite right. So instead of coming out of the gate sprinting like we really wanted to, we had to take a step back and make sure that we were delivering the game that our players really wanted. So we decided to completely overhaul our progression system and add a bunch of new character cosmetics for players to collect instead. So from there, we added a new hunt mode inspired by the original Battlefront games that I loved personally, starting with the Ewoks on Endor. And thank you. It turned out to be by far the most popular update of the game, and the team loved building Ewok hunts.
Are they just
That's
looping the
because the
trailer?
Ewok movies are
So,
amazing.
as you might know, we're currently in our Han Solo season with content from the movie coming next week. It's headlined by the new planet Kessel, a really dangerous place, and it features the return of one of our favorite modes, Extraction. So looking forward a little bit, this summer we will be introducing a new squad system to the game, which will allow you to team up much easier and play with your friends. We're also adding a new Starfighter mode focused around dogfighting with your hero ships. And looking ahead a little bit more, we will also be delivering a new large-scale multiplayer sandbox
keep looping
experience
video.
focused around capturing command posts and attacking and taking out capital ships.
Maybe this is all they've built.
But that's not all. We know that you have been asking for new heroes, villains, and planets from a certain era that features a very iconic Star Wars conflict. So I'm excited to confirm that Battlefront 2 this year will be going deep into the Clone Wars.
I bet Andy's freaking out right about now.
It's only fitting that we begin on the planet Geonosis, featuring multiple levels, including the largest level we have ever built for Battlefront. So let's talk about the heroes and villains. First, let me introduce the most powerful droid, the leader of the most powerful
Elise
droid
and Barbara will
army
be
in the
happy about that.
galaxy, General Grievous. And yes, he will be going up against my own personal favorite, Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. Finally making his debut in Battlefront after all these years. But we're not done. That's not it. They will not come alone. Joining them is the Dark Lord and leader of the Separatist Alliance, Count Dooku, as well as someone to bring balance to the Force, Obi-Wan's unruly Padawan, Anakin Skywalker.
You can even get all those likenesses. That's what I'm wondering, especially in
The team at home is extremely excited to be building all of these cool things. EA and DICE are committed to Battlefront. We had a rough start, but I really think that this game has a bright future. Thank you very much for playing the game, providing us with your feedback, talking to us. Together, we will make this the greatest game that we can possibly build. There would be no Battlefront without you. So thank you, may the Force be with you, and enjoy the rest of E3.
Say whatever you want to about EA and the Battlefront and the way it launched. They've been exceptionally humble about their approach to it after all that initial outrage.
Yeah. It's difficult to acknowledge when you messed up, but they have absolutely been doing that.
Oh!
Oh my god.
So cute.
A 100 balls of yarn fall on an island.
Oh, he is going to another one. You have to hunt for needles and scissors.
Hi, it's really good to see you. In Unravel, we used yarn to symbolize love and the bonds between people. In our new game, we tear that bond up right at the start. You lose everything, including your spark. But when things are at their darkest, you find hope. And you form a new bond. And your spark is rekindled. And it leads you off on an adventure.
I'm loving this.
So welcome to Unravel 2. It's a game about fresh starts and second chances. These two little souls who refuse to give up and who build something new and beautiful together. And the whole game is inspired by that spirit of optimism and togetherness. You see, it's all made to be played with two characters. You can play it alone, or you can play it in co-op with a friend, but there's always two characters there, sharing one yarn and working together to get through this adventure. This game, it's quite different from the first. It's both friendlier and more challenging, but above all, it's a lot more playful. And we think it's a worthy successor. And I want to show it to you now, so I brought some help. So please welcome Michael to the stage. He's a producer at Coldwood.
Your couch co-op?
And we're going to try to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about how you can play the game in co-op with yourself, essentially.
So this wasn't prepared?
There we are.
Well, it shows that they're doing it.
Yeah, it shows they're doing it.
So when you're playing it by yourself, you can essentially pick up the other character and carry them along through the more fast-paced segments of the game. And we actually tried to include a bit more of those because we figured that since it's a co-op game, we wanted to have more like thrill and danger and kind of wow moments, places that were like fun and exciting. And And then when you get to the more puzzly areas like this, when you're problem solving, you can split apart into two and switch back and forth between the two characters, because that's how we've essentially designed all the problems and puzzles of the game, that you're always working together and helping each other out and utilizing this bond between you to overcome any obstacle that you come across.
So it's one person controlling both characters?
Well, you can merge them together.
So I guess
parts of it.
I'll jump in at this.
Yeah, come Yoni.
Like there was that character who was red and blue.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the red one.
Okay.
You'll be the blue one.
Okay, now they're both playing. So you can play both,
Yeah.
but you can also do co-op. All right.
Celebratory flip there.
It's a cool way of handling it.
You know what I'm reminded of watching this is that really great Xbox kind of game called Brothers.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, and
Playing
this
it
is
safely now.
great game.
Oops.
It's like this feels like a combo between that and Limbo. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'll catch you.
One thing I really enjoy about these games, the first Unravel, but also there's a VR game called Moss. Is these games where you're tiny. I really think the like exploring the scale of things is cool. Like all these little tiny things that we don't think about are epic tools for them.
Got it? Oh, very nice. Oh, faster. Oh, sweet. Well done. Okay, I'll go up and distract the grouse. You can.
I'll sneak up here.
Someone in chat called it Tomb Raider Yarn Edition.
Okay, your turn.
Yeah, look at me.
Here you are. Keep him up with the left. Now I'll go.
Turkey really has a hard on for yarn.
Trying to build a nest, maybe. Who knows?
I'll pull you up.
Now I can't stop picturing turkey hard-ons.
That sounds like your problem.
Yeah, right. I think that's what they were going for. That's what they're hoping.
Now we can breathe again.
Yeah, finally.
Or can we?
Slow-mo.
So that's a quick little look at Unravel 2.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah, looks like a fun game.
Yeah, I really hope you like it. And before I go, I just want to send some love to the team back home, because working on this game has been a completely amazing team effort in so many levels, and everybody has worked so hard. So there's a bunch of us from Coldwood here, and thank you to those, and thank you to everybody back home, and thank you. Love you.
Oh, God bless the developers, man.
I love the indie.
Joseph Marchand in chat saying it's a Thanksgiving turkey.
A lot of repeated imagery in this presentation today.
It was really baffling in the Star Wars section.
Yeah, that one didn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
The first Unravel, did any of you guys play that?
Maybe Zipper was open.
I really enjoyed it, but felt like it had potential to be more. This seems like it could really help its find its feet.
Yeah.
Like its momentum.
Was Brothers on just Xbox or was it on PlayStation as well? I played it on Xbox.
I played it on Xbox.
But if you get a chance to play Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, I think it would still hold up today. It was even like a little lo-fi for when it came out.
Yeah, difference being it is single player. You did, but you had to share the controller.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. I remember the two of you sitting, each using half of the controller.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a really pretty game. It's got a really great art style.
The team at Coldwood, the game is really strong. These guys have done an amazing job, and it's clear that they have a lot of passion, and I can't personally wait to play Unravel 2 with my kids. But what's even more amazing is that we will make Unravel 2 available to everyone today. Yep, you heard that right.
Yay!
You'll be able to take these two Yarnies on their next big adventure, Star Unravel, to seek out the most creative, independent developers and bring them into our EA Originals program. It's been our way of helping these creators bring their unique games to the world and to tell their stories. And last year, if you remember, Joseph Fares was up here on stage representing his team at Hazelight and The Way Out. And I think we all kind of remember that. And you might even remember him from the Game Awards as well. I think I did. Anyhow, in March, that game caught fire. It's innovative, it's fun, and it's something fresh and new, and you all loved it. We saw over 2 million players in the first 2 weeks. And A Way Out is such a huge success that Joseph and his team are expanding and moving into a new studio. So stories like this drive our industry, and it's why we will continue to work with independent developers to help them realize their dreams. Which leads us to our next EA Originals title, from a little game studio in Berlin called Jomai Games. When I met this team and I saw the game, I was instantly drawn to how personal this story was. It's one that carries a very powerful and important message, and it's unlike anything we have ever done. So please welcome Connie Gepper to the stage from Jomai Games to tell you more about Sea of Solitude.
Oceans are hot.
Thank you, Patrick.
Come on, you got
I still remember during the pitch how enthusiastic Patrick was, and that afterwards, like, our whole team, including me, were super excited. It actually feels a little bit the same right now. I'm pretty excited, maybe a little too excited.
You got this.
Got it. Come on.
She's so cute.
Yeah, if you're not used to talking in front of an audience, it's intimidating. Yeah.
We are Jomai, a small indie game studio from Berlin, and we are developing Sea of Solitude, or SOS as we call it. The whole journey from the very first concept to actually becoming a part of EA Originals is simply amazing. Let me tell you more about our game. When humans get too lonely, they turn into monsters. This is at the core of everything you will see, hear, and hopefully feel while playing SOS. What makes this underlying concept so important and so unique is that nearly every human being can at least somehow relate to or remember the feeling of being lonely. In my case, I started writing the story when I felt the loneliest in my life. I think as an artist, you process your emotional world by letting it out and putting it into your art. I'm still amazed how the concept seems to just float out of me right into the hand and onto the paper. I think this is also why so many people can instantly connect with the game, because it's not a made-up story, even though that it takes place in a fantastic setting. In SOS, we try to show how people experience different kinds of loneliness, but also how outsiders, friends, and families see those who struggle. We achieve all this in playful ways so that players who wants to simply enjoy a fantastic experience can do so. But player who wants to look a bit deeper can reveal a whole emotional world beneath it all. Sea of Solitude is about a young woman named Kay who is suffering from such strong loneliness that her inner feeling, the darkness, the anger, the hopelessness, worthlessness, turns to the outside and she becomes a monster. The game is about finding out why this happened to her, but also how to turn her back into a human. Ultimately, the goal is to bring all those emotions into balance. Some needs to become bigger, some would be better off a little smaller, but to embrace even your destructive part or your self-doubt in the same way you embrace your joy or your hope. This is what being human is all about. And that's what our game is all about. Thank you.
Is this
You did it,
real?
girl.
That's cool.
This world that I live in is empty and cold. The loneliness cuts me and tortures my soul. I'm no child of destiny and no fortune's son. I've just chased you so long now, I'm too weak to run. A new day is here, but nothing is new. Alone in my room, I tremble for you.
I love the art direction for the game, and especially the main character.
I feel like I get more out of having seen some of the gameplay as well. I'm like, oh, okay, this is like a puzzle adventure game.
But I come away from that feeling that there's really limited environments, I feel, after seeing that.
Right. Like maybe it's like Metroidvania style, where you have an area you're just unlocking portions of.
We're balling. Be ready. Because we're coming at you with the squad. Say it how you want. Trust the process. Run as one. Call next. Or be the answer. As long as you hold your course.
Like a Instagram story feed there?
Just remember,
or Instagram Live?
wherever you call home, whatever your fit, or however you ball, you're on my court.
I don't know what this game's about.
And this is my squad.
100 basketball players.
100 LeBrons versus 1 Steph Curry.
My name's Shea Kivlin, aka Young Kiv. I'm from Seattle, Washington. The only goal of mine is really to win the Mountain Belt.
Kiv's been going after that belt since 2016. At some point, he's going to need to get out of this quarterfinal and claim a major.
It's a big night for Young Kiv. He's been stuck at the quarterfinals.
And here he is now in his first championship game, looking to accomplish a goal.
3rd and 4, throws it low. T.Y. drops it.
That was a phenomenal read, and Trini's got the lead.
40-19.
I hate losing way more than I love winning.
Oh, we have an incredible matchup. It's a rematch. Touchdown, Kev. Nick, he throws it high, and Young Kev is going to be your champion. Can I play you again?
You want to get smacked again on TV?
Madden 18 champion.
He's finally done it.
Okay.
Sounds like a nice guy.
Okay, baby, how you doing?
I've been good. You still recovering from that butt whooping?
Wow, already starting. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Juju
Awkward banter.
Smith-Schuster from the Pittsburgh
Scripted trash
Steelers.
talk. Always the best.
As you guys can see, king of touchdown celebrations. That's pretty fire. I like that a lot. As you guys know, this is Young Kiv, Madden 18, Madden champion. Like, give it up for Young Kiv, y'all. Give it up. Young Kiv, how has it been? You know, your success and your path, you know, to where you're at today.
It's I've always been a competitor. When I was in high school, I was playing baseball. I hurt my arm. So then I picked up Madden, and at first I was really bad. I was getting blown out online, but I kept at it. I put more and more time into it. Eventually I made my first tournament, but I had a big decision. It was the same time as my graduation.
Wow, okay. So the key to be the #1 player in Madden is to hurt your arm in baseball.
Character creation tool.
Number 2, you said you had the decision to go to your graduation or go to a tournament. So like, what did you do?
I chased that money. I still got my diploma, but I chased that money.
There you go. We're out here chasing money.
Wow.
That's awesome. Okay, now the past two years,
No,
how has
it
it
always
been for you? I know
happens.
you
I would
had some ups
expect
and
players.
downs.
It's just overly
been tough.
scripted, I
I've
think.
had a lot of devastating losses. I've been so close so many times. I made the final on TV and got blown out. But all those losses made me gain a lot of mental toughness, and that's how I got this belt.
That's awesome. That belt is so amazing. There's a lot of, bling on that belt for you.
Yes. But the wardrobe was provided by Steam Marketplace.
First look at the Madden 19 trailer. Super excited. It's going to be so fun. It's lit. I honestly wish I can stay right here and talk to you guys forever, but I'm not going to board you guys. We're going to go out. I'm going to try to take this belt, round 2. So we're out. Have a good day.
100 John Maddens.
We keep making that joke, but there aren't that many Battle Royale announcements.
Your whole life to get to moments
We led the game. We led EA with one.
It is true.
The first conference.
First
They
title.
haven't pivoted Anthem yet.
You battle through the pain and failure, all just to get to this place where you've been told legends are born. You fall so you can rise. And you rise so that you can truly see that it was really never about reaching the end of the road at all,
I just want to know, can I kneel during
but about all the moments that
It's down on the D-pad.
So, you were in their position. Would you let the moment define you? Or will you define the moment?
I think it's interesting that they moved Madden to the Frostbite engine. It seems like they're really unifying everything across all their different divisions onto that engine.
They also keep pushing the esports angle of their sports games, and it's just like, I just don't see that as major push in esports.
Michael Martinez. How you doing today?
I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, we're going to do this presentation a little bit differently and give you your first look at a brand new mobile game in a live winner-take-all head-to-head match.
Well,
Michael, why don't you tell us the rules?
Sure thing. The objective is straightforward. Destroy the opponent's base to win. Unit control, super simple. Just tap the destination, unit automatically moves there. The most efficient way to destroy the opponent's base is with this giant nuclear missile in the center of the map. Control the missile by standing on a majority of the control points. A bar fills up while the missile is possessed. Whoever controls the missile when the bar fills up will fire the missile. Takes 2 missiles to destroy the enemy's base and win. That's it.
Sounds great, Michael. Well, enough talking about it. Let's get to this match.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have an awesome matchup lined up for you here today. Fighting for the blue side of the room, if you could please give a cheer for one of the most formidable RTS players there is. Make some noise for In Control.
Yes. Audience does not sound energetic.
No.
His opponent, fighting for the red side of the room, a competitive mobile gaming phenomenon. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Nick at Night.
I'm nervous to say
Now, Mike, it's going to be a real clash of
that
these
nobody
games.
necessarily knows. They have to explain what the game is.
Yeah, should be a great match.
It really is. I can't wait.
All right, are the players ready? Let's get this thing going.
Ready to go. I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
All right, let's kick this off. Nice little strategy game for those of you out there. It's a good genre.
I like they brought them
I'm
out
very
to put them
excited
in
for
the
this.
dark.
The players
I mean,
are
it's really
loading
goes
in,
to
and
show
we're ready to
how
match.
difficult this is to present.
Right.
They're literally sitting in the dark.
Bases have been deployed, and the action begins like any strategy game. Economy will be the focus. We have a
Typical round lasts 45 minutes. Let's see how this goes.
Nothing too crazy.
Now the infantry is going to come out to hold that top point. Both players, of course, trying to take that position. Nick at Night being able to reach it a little bit first in a strategy game. That flank position that In Control is going from the top side, also very important as Nick at Night's forces have to circle around the
Kelly
center.
Roberts, Kenny in chat is asking, is this Command and Conquer?
Right, I thought when I wondered what IP is this based on when I saw it because it's EA, you know?
And going for the anti-infantry,
I think
like
it's
any
just
strategy game, the units that you're
new
going
or
to
generic.
use when you
Yeah.
deploy them will have a huge
It would make
impact.
sense
Your
to at least
micromanagement of
leverage one of the ones that they've got that they're not using.
Nick and Knight with some attack bikes in the top. There he is.
And In Control placing the turret on the top right side to help cover that Rhino.
It's
as
interesting though, it
attack
looks
bikes
like a
move
cross
towards the
between
northwest position.
RTS
You
and
can see that the
strategy
missile
a little
is
bit, like
beginning
turn-based
to
strategy.
ready and
A little bit,
fire.
yeah,
That
because
takes
it's got
up half
locked
your base. The
positions,
most important
but it's
objective on the
real
map is
time.
to hold those control zones.
Right, and In Control making a lot of progress to that far right side of the match.
He's done a great job of holding that down with the turret, and now he's redeploying his vehicles to the south side, bringing out more infantry to deal with the attack bikes. And as
Did
that
any of you
economy
guys play
ramps up, of
Clash
course, we're seeing
Royale
bigger,
or
more
Clash
powerful
Royale?
units
No.
come out.
Is
We
those
have
called
there the
Clash
drill
Royale?
pod coming in the
Yes,
left
there-
side
yeah,
to
there's-
help
there's
ready
Clash
for
Royale.
those
Some flamethrowers, right, absolutely. Again, those are going to tear through those infantry.
Yeah, and In Control brings out his first tank. That's going to be used to try and help push back these smaller forces as he makes his way to the south side. That missile passing halfway now. Two zones in control of Nick at Night. He will have the missiles. We see it starts to point
Yeah,
towards
there's
In
some bizarre
Control's base.
choices at this press
Let's
conference.
see
Yeah.
if In Control can get around to that top corner, able to halt that missile.
keeping in mind,
He
too, we
does
haven't yet
contest the missile,
seen-
putting it into the yellow position.
Well,
Very important, of course,
the potential
blocking
skate.
the pathing of
Do you
those
get an
units.
extra
Big
missile
factor
if you
to the
connect to
strategy.
Facebook?
Holding those locations
Is that,
is so
can
crucial
we do that?
as In Control
Still waiting for that part of this
begins to secure the
presentation.
northwest spot. Another
Share it
team's
with your
gonna come
friends.
out from Nick at Night to take it out, but now he's
You
bringing out
fight
the Pitbull
five
as well to help
friends.
lock down that north position.
This missile is very, very close to firing. Let's see what's going to happen.
With another turret, In Control flanks. He takes the top. That missile
And that
fires.
Wow.
There's
And
two
Nick
missiles,
at
right?
Night,
Yep.
one shot away from being knocked out here, as the next one will start to ready up in just a moment's time. In Control's very heady artillery.
I'm on the
force
edge of my
doing a
seat. Are
great
you on the edge of
job
your
at
seat?
control of the map.
I love this game.
I will definitely give this game a shot, but this is an odd choice for a live presentation.
Like a 30-second ad
Yeah,
in the trailer.
Also, an available now, go get it kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, as someone just pointed out to me here, that's definitely Tiberium up at the top of the screen.
Oh, yeah.
That sucks. I'd rather just have a real Command and
Trying to
Conquer.
get in there, but there's a great turret
it's not
placement from In
definitely
Control,
Tiberium,
blocking
but-
and just ripping through again. Those
There's a harvester on the left.
And we see In Control now moving his tank
Yeah,
forward.
if it's a Command and Conquer, do you think they would have called that out?
Maybe it's like at
Maybe
the
they're
end, like
waiting to do their
surprise.
big old mic drop. Like it's Command and Conquer, and it's available right now.
Shout out to Adam Baird with the eagle eyes.
He brings up the laser infantry on the south side as
Be
well.
nice if,
Deal with that tank, going for counters,
If I was
trying to
picking a
scout out
Command and
see
Conquer
what your
game
opponent
to
is doing and make the
port to
proper
mobile, it would be
response. So
generals
important
for me
strategy.
there.
Absolutely. Nick at Night cruising around, thinking about harassing those harvesters, coming around the far side for those rhinos. Looks like he's really pressing it.
And we see that missile is starting to get close to firing with
this.
3 zones in control for Nick and Knight, looking to set things back the other way. In Control trying to rally his forces around. He
There's
doesn't
a
want
lot
to
of
engage
time
just
in
one
this
or two units. He
briefing
wants
to
move
devote
all of
to
them
this game.
together, create a
Especially
good
if, Red's
flank
gonna
position,
fire,
take
I
over
think
that
someone
side.
else has
Seeing the
to
first
shoot.
mech
we
unit
get to watch
from
the
In
whole thing.
Control. This is the
Have it in real
Wolverine.
time.
Gonna rip, and this is what, watch out for this missile.
And Nick and
There
Knight's
it
gonna
goes.
fire that one off and settle for next missile is gonna
Got him.
end it.
Next missile wins. Let's see what happens.
Boom goes the
Out of
dynamite.
Control, the Wolverines, as you pointed out, for In Control coming out to try and deal with these forces. But Nick at Knight's done a great job of getting map presence and now also harassing the economy of
There he
In
is.
Control.
Yep. Wow. Okay, we've got our first mammoth tank on the board. If
Well, it does
Nick-
seem
if
to
In
be
Control can
limited
get
to a
this in
certain amount of
position,
time
it's gonna
because
do
the
some
missile
serious damage.
progresses
That
at its own
missile
rate,
just
and it's
passed
whoever
halfway
owns
ready.
the
He's also
control
bringing out
points.
his first
Yeah.
air unit
Wow.
to deal with those.
A lot going on here.
It's
He's got a
turning.
lot of range, that big boy, and In Control just needs to hold
This missile is nearly going to fire.
It can be
That's
stolen
80%.
at any point.
Where's it going to go? Is he going to be able to get it off?
He's got it back.
There it is.
Gonna take it. Defeating Nick at Night here in 1.
What a victory.
Amazing.
Well, epic's a word.
What a match. Thank you so much.
That was awesome.
Any thoughts, guys?
I just came to make mammoth tanks, so I've done my job.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was
Thank you
awesome.
so
We saw a
much.
little bit of everything right there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's hear it for Nathanius, Nick at Night, and In Control. Ladies and gentlemen, what you just saw was the worldwide reveal of Command and Conquer Rivals.
Oh, man.
Good call, Gus, on the
Rivals
it was-
reimagines the
Totally,
real-time strategy
totally got help on that
experience for mobile. We're giving players complete, continuous control of their armies in quick, competitive head-to-head matches that are fueled by skill and strategy. Now, Rivals will be coming to
What was that last
iOS
Command
and
and
Android
Conquer game?
devices, but I'm excited to announce that Android players can play the pre-alpha today. So head to the Google Play Store, search Command and Conquer Rivals. The studio has been having an absolute blast playing this game, and we can't wait for you to play. Please let us know what you think. Thank you.
If the last 30 seconds of what they just did was the entire presentation, it would have been a much bigger deal.
Yeah.
I agree.
Here's Command and Conquer coming to mobile.
Mobile. It's available today.
Here's what it looks like.
Yeah.
cut down
So,
to
a
that
typical
round.
mobile game?
A cut down to
Typical
that
mobile
match
game
would have
trailer?
been fine. Where's the celebrity to promote this? I'm available, EA.
I feel like as bad as the presentation as that was, I would probably still try this game.
Wow.
That's exactly what the gameplay looked like.
Command and Conquer for a new generation. Now, before we close the show with a spectacular epic anthem, I wanted to share a few final things. I'm blessed to be able to work with some of the most creative people on the planet who come to work every day to create amazing entertainment. And what I can say about all of those teams and what I can say about us is that we are always trying to learn and listen and strive to be better. And so as you look at the 10 experiences that you're going to see today, and as you play games this week, there's some things we hope come through. First, that at the very core is choice. Is that you as players get to choose how you play, what you play, when you play, and what devices you play on. That in making those choices, you feel you are treated fairly. That no one is given an unfair advantage or disadvantage for how they choose to play. That for every moment that you invest, we know that you put so much of your life into the games we make, and that for every moment that you invest, you feel like you are rewarded and you are given value for that investment. And most importantly, that the games are fun, that we move past the grind, and that these are experiences that truly enhance your lives. And so, as we think through all the things that we're trying to do, know that we want to be better, and that we want to make great games. And that as much as we love making games, and as much as you love playing them, there's something that is even greater that we can do together. The power of this community when we come together to do amazing things is profound. Last weekend was the 3rd year of our Play to Give program, where we show the world how the power of play can be a positive force for social impact. Millions of you out there participated in 9 in-game challenges in our games, logging millions of hours in support of Play to Give. And to celebrate that, we contributed a total of $1 million to 3 charities that share our vision for a more inclusive world. A world where representation and equality are not something we strive for, they are the standards. And where bullying and exclusion are not an everyday threat. These 3 organizations, the United Nations He4She, PACE's National Bullying Prevention Center, and Ditch the Label, an anti-bullying organization, all are doing great work, and we're proud to support them through Play to Give. And thank you for your support. Thousands of us at EA and millions of you together doing immeasurable good because we love games. Thanks for being with us, and thanks for the incredible privilege of making games for all of you. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at Anthem.
This Gate player is going to be angry.
The gods vanished and left our world in chaos, creating, altering, destroying. The anthem is all that remains.
There's a storm coming. These walls can't protect us forever.
Something is out there. It wants to destroy us all.
There's some gameplay. It was music. I heard you misspoke. A little bit of gameplay there. Few frames.
So
I did say at the top that it was all in-game footage.
Yeah.
Did it say in-game or game engine?
Game engine.
Game engine.
Yeah, that's not the same.
Not gameplay.
How cool was that trailer? You guys have seen it a couple times, and it's still cool every time I see it. So I know all of you, like me, have had tons of questions about Anthem since last year because we're all BioWare fans. So we're going to do something a little bit different for the rest of the show, and we're going to take a deep dive into Anthem. So I'm going to bring out some members of the BioWare team to chat with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Casey Hudson, Mark Dara, and Kathleen Routsard.
So instead of gameplay, we're getting Q&A?
Yeah, this is a weird
Hopefully we get some
approach to
15-second
presentation.
gameplay
Thanks,
loops.
guys. Thanks for coming out today. Just got a
Yeah,
little game
thank
to show, right?
Yep.
It's going to be very exciting. So, Casey, we're going to go ahead and just jump right in and get started with you. So now, we know that
First
you
for
all
one, better
started,
be, where's the
or
game?
Casey, you started your career at BioWare way back in the day, but you took a couple years off. But before you came back, you actually worked on Anthem before you left.
Yeah, that's right. First of all, it's amazing to be back. It's awesome to be making games for BioWare fans. You know, we have the best fans. So it's been super satisfying to come back to it. And, you know, I just want to be able to continue the legacy of the studio. And that's kind of where it started with Anthem, is just thinking about, you know, what is the evolution of a BioWare game?
Yeah.
And we wanted to create a brand new world for people to discover, you know, a whole new world of story and character. But we also wanted to do something that was, you know, more of a dynamic and living world, and a game that would change every time you came back and played it. And we also wanted to do something where, you know, if you wanted to invite your friends into it, then you could do that as well. So that was really the initial vision of the game, not an MMO, not a multiplayer game with story sort of bolted on the side, but something new and different, and I think the team has really captured that vision over the years.
Your fans really love the stories from BioWare, but I think we're kind of curious how you're planning to make story work in this shared world.
So a great story for BioWare is really about characters that you can have a connection with, choices you get to make, and feeling like the story is about you. In a lot of multiplayer games, those things get diluted because you're mixing multiplayer and storytelling into the same areas. Now you can build a solution to that, but you have to really build it into the core of the game. And that's what we've tried to do with Anthem. It's what we call our world, my story. So when you're out in the open world, the world is really dangerous and you're focused on your mission. And this is where other players get to play with you. The thing that's really interesting about this, it's unique for Anthem, is that this is a living shared world. So whether there's weather or it's nighttime, what we're experiencing together. Everyone that's playing Anthem at a moment is seeing the same thing. And this is what we mean when we talk about our world. It's a shared world that we all experience together. But then when I finish my mission, I come back to a base like Fort Tarsus. And this is a single player experience. I turn in my rewards, I talk to some characters, I experience the choices of my action. And this is where your story really lives and breathes. And by doing it this way, we're able to combine that impact and agency of a single-player story with the fun of teaming up with your friends to play co-op in combat.
And we're also designing it so that we can add story for years to come. So one of the first things that we hear from our community is they want to continue to play in our worlds when they've finished Mass Effect or Dragon Age. Players want more story. And so we've designed Anthem in a way that we can actually add more story for years to come. And it could be anything. A new moment with a character that you've grown to love, or
see other players,
event
like
in the
shadows
world
floating around or whatever.
deepens the lore, or an entirely new storyline and plot.
Well, I'm certainly not going to complain about more story. I don't think anybody out there is going to either. So, Kathleen, I wanted to ask you, from a writing perspective, since you are the lead writer, can you speak to what it's like to create a new world like Anthem from the beginning?
Well, what's really exciting for us, and not just the writers, but all of the devs, the designers, the artists, is that we're creating something new and mysterious for players to discover. So at the heart of the premise of Anthem is a world left unfinished by the gods. But the gods left behind their massive tools, and those tools are in constant conflict with this unknowable force called the Anthem of Creation. And the chaos of those things pushing against each other means that the world is constantly being reshaped in new and unpredictable ways.
Yeah, violent storms, mutated creatures, gigantic monsters. It's a dangerous environment that you need to wear a suit of powered armor, a javelin, to be safe in.
Now, something I think a lot of players out there maybe don't stop to think about is just how much work goes into creating a new intellectual property, or IP, as we've been saying. Now, we've seen all these different creatures, and Mark, you mentioned the storms. What's the process of creating a game like from scratch?
Yeah, it's something we've done a few times at BioWare. And really the hardest part is getting started, just kind of getting off the blank page. So what we try to do is we think about the new experiences that we're trying to unlock for players. So like, what is the fantasy fulfillment? What are the new things you actually get to go and do that are different from what you've played before? So that's where we start, and then once we think about those things, that's the power of creating new IP, especially for games, is that you actually get to build a whole fictional universe that's meant to bring out a certain experience. And then once we do that, then we still need to build all the rest of the stuff, and what unlocks us creatively is to think about like principles around art style, tone, and even the technology and the politics of our new world. And then from there, we can actually go and build out every last detail.
Yeah, and one of the unique challenges for Anthem is that it's a world, an experience that's meant to feel alive, like it's happening right now. And so the world is always changing, whether the storms, seasons, and yeah, it's a really great concept to write for, because what it means is it gives us the opportunity to drop into the world, almost in real time, a dramatic event that changes the world for everyone. And that could be anything from gameplay to lore.
I mean, all of the moving parts in the dynamic world sound really cool, the way that they sound like they're going to come together.
Concept art.
But even though there's obviously a lot going on, it really all comes back to
footage. Dude, I don't know what's going on.
So let's talk about who we're going to be playing as and why we're fighting these crazy beasts.
So you are a freelancer, uniquely skilled to pilot these Javelin exosuits. And you need those suits to survive and fight in this world, because the world will kill you. But on top of that, our ancient rivals, the Dominion, they've discovered a way, they think, to weaponize the Anthem of Creation, and so we need to stop them and protect the free people of Tarsus.
Now, I've heard you call this power armor a couple different things. Is it a suit? Is it a javelin? Like, what's the canon term here?
We call them javelins, and there are 4, and they each have unique abilities. There's the Ranger,
same kind of thing.
And then there's the Colossus, the Interceptor, and finally the Storm.
Yeah, so each Javelin gives you a different way to play the game. But the thing to remember is, like Kathleen said, you're not your suit. You are a freelancer, a pilot, which means you can decide which suit you want to use based on your mood, based on the mission you want to engage in, or the Javelins that your friends are using. So really what this allows us to do is, we've built the suits to look like they're built from the materials of the world. So they each have their own unique abilities. So let's take a look at the Ranger now. The Ranger is a more generalized suit, able to do a lot of different things, really designed for up-close and personal combat, one-on-one for the most part. The Colossus is heavier, more specialized, but able to really pack in big weapons that let them devastate the battlefield.
I'm just going to say the Storm looks like it's going to be my favorite. I'm sure you guys out there are picking your faves right now, too. So the Javelins look awesome, but we're going to take a couple questions right now. So Casey tweeted, some of you may have seen, asking for people out there to send us your questions. And the first one is going to be from @It'sSweetNicole, who asks, as a player who is all about making their character their own, what kind of customization options will be available in Anthem?
Yeah, so we really want players to express themselves, both through customizing the way their Javelin plays, through gear and weapons, but also being able to personalize the way that it looks, both through paint jobs as well as changing the actual geometry of the suit itself. We want teams to be able to do this as well.
That wasn't pre-scripted, by the way. They just happened to have that piece of video footage ready.
We really want you to be able to make it your own.
I'm glad you brought that up, because actually, Jay Legato has a question connected to customization. Monetization. How, when, loot box, cosmetics?
Yeah, so we are going to have some cosmetics and vanity items that you'll be able to purchase, but you're always going to know what you're going to buy before you spend any money on it. So no loot boxes, no ability to pay for power.
Yay.
So that means no ability to spend money on gameplay advantage at all within Anthem.
All the cool
but even more important than that, we want to make sure that Anthem is an immersive experience that feels like it's complete from the get-go. So that means a main story, a big open world, and an ongoing service that provides new content for a long period of time. New story, new experiences for everyone.
Well, I'm glad to hear that I can make my Javelin pink. That's really all I wanted to know, I'm going to be honest. All right, Casey. We talked earlier about this being a co-op experience. So can you tell me a little bit about how the team gameplay in Anthem is going to work?
Yeah, it really is about, you know, the fun of teaming up as a team of superheroes and working together. So you want to get a few people together of different classes. So, you know, I think here we're going to see the Colossus, you know, just hammering people on the ground in gameplay. If we can have a look at that. So heavy artillery, being really strong, you know, in melee combat. And then here you've got the Ranger shooting down from above. And then they're using combos and special abilities and stuff like that. But what I love is you don't just run around, you're swimming and flying as well.
So it's interesting because Alex of the Sleep Tones wants to know, how will you balance multiplayer with single-player storytelling?
So Anthem's really built around trying to combine the impact of having your own personal story with the fun of playing with other players. But we really want to make sure that that playing with other people feels like a choice. So for people that want to just experience the story, you're going to be able to do that. Now, going out into an open world like this by yourself is going to be a little bit more challenging than if the team of 4 people. And we've really tried to balance the co-op experience to be fun, even for people that don't normally engage in this kind of thing. So I really hope that everyone at least gives co-op a try.
Okay, that's good to know. If you want to roll solo, you can, but it's just going to be a little bit more difficult. Well, I know you all are on the edges of your seats. How about we show a little gameplay? Yeah?
That is what we've been waiting for.
All right,
15-second loop.
Yeah, what if we loop a whole bunch of it?
I will. So, you and your friends have decided to play a mission called Scars and Villainy. The Scars have put together an acid-based super weapon, so you got to take them out. So you start in the Strider, which is like a giant walker, and it's your forward base of operations. You have a conversation with your crew, Halleck, Faye, and Owen, and you'll hear Owen. He's going to talk us through the mission as we experience it here. And yeah, then you just get into your Javelin suit and you head out with your friends.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mark, Casey, Kathleen, for talking to me about Anthem today. We're going to go ahead and roll the gameplay now. Enjoy, everybody.
Freelancer, time to get to work.
Faye said these bastards made some kind of acid. They're using it as a weapon. So, find where they're making this garbage and shut it all down.
Owen, what's the plan here?
Picking up loads of scars nearby. Take a look around the area, but be careful.
Ooh, that frame rate.
There's something I really like about damage numbers. They feel kind of...
I love damage numbers. It's also a good way to give you like feedback when you're getting more powerful.
Checking out the scar cam some more.
Look at all the weapons. Oh, and the turrets. Better move quickly.
I want to fly around so bad. That's cool.
There's a Shaper relic. Wait, something's odd. Get a closer look, would you? See those radiant pieces of energy? They're echoes from the Anthem of Creation. Loads of scars nearby. Be careful.
Combo.
I love it.
Return them to the relic. You've got to silence it fast.
I mean, you can look at the heads-up display on the right with changing weapons, but then also the powers is you have abilities that have a cooldown.
Yeah.
You know, like apparently that sphere that throws everybody with that area of effect.
How do you guys feel about like the third-person shooter instead of as opposed to like the first-person shooter in the style game?
I'm fine.
Wait, something's happening.
I'm okay with it. I don't mind.
What the hell was that?
I think that was whatever laid all the eggs around here. The sound came from below your position. On the plus side, this definitely counts toward hazard pay. There's a trail of this acid gunk leading down. Follow it, and we should find the source.
It definitely feels like I'm watching a Destiny strike, though.
Yeah.
Are there 3 people on team or 4 people?
Four.
There's 4? Yeah.
Sure, don't show the boss fight. That looks cool, dude.
How cool is that? I'm so hyped, you guys.
Yep, and that was actually just a short version of the full demo that we brought here to LA. So if you want to come by the Anthem Theater here at EA Play, you can check out the game live.
So I'm sure the question on everyone's minds, when do we get to play?
So Anthem comes out February 22nd, 2019 on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC.
So mark your calendars, everybody. Fire off your tweets. Thank you so much again to
Is that what
Casey
they
and the
think so?
entire
Crackdown?
Firework team. I know you guys had that awesome theater outside, so I will see you guys there.
All right,
Give
see
it
you
up for
there.
Casey Hudson, everybody. I also want to give a big thank you to all of the developers who showcased their games today and everybody working hard at their studios back home around the world. Let's give them all a round of applause. Now, some of what you saw today, you guys have to wait to play. But you guys, EA has so much available right now.
Days
Now, for
Gone.
those of you keeping score, you
Crackdown
can
is
get your
February.
free trial
Days
of
Gone is
FIFA
February
18's World Cup
22nd.
today. And Andrew told us about the free trial of Origin Access. Yarny is back with a buddy in Unravel 2, which is also available today. Plus, you can take on your friends in Command & Conquer Rivals starting today as well. Now, that's a lot of available stuff that's out today. Is anybody ready to go home and download anything? No? You're like, I just want to go outside into the Fan Fest. I get it, I get it. So I want to let you guys know to keep your streams going because in just a few moments, the FIFA 18 World Cup live tournament is going to begin. I'm going to head outside and check out the games, but I want to thank everybody for coming down to EA Play today and watching the press conference, and have a great weekend.
February is the new October.
Well, I think that's the date they initially put out so they can push it to October later.
Yeah.
Wasn't Red Dead Redemption supposed to be out in the spring initially?
Yeah.
Of 2018?
So October now is Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, Battlefield 5, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Everything else pushed to is either pushed forward to September or pushed to November because no one wants to compete with those 3.
Right. Tend to overanalyze things that they show in cinematic trailers. And for Battlefield 5, they showed being able, specifically in-game, being able to move defenses.
Yeah. They focused on that a lot.
In the cinematic, they showed them building sandbag walls, which I thought was interesting.
Right. They had a close-up of a hammer.
Yes.
And then they cut to the sandbag walls as well, like building fortified positions.
Yeah.
You and I look for the same things, apparently.
Oh, right. So that was the EA briefing.
Engineer class for life.
All done. Good to finally have it. Sokovic.
Hey, Kovic. You guys can't see him, but he's off screen. He's really excited about Anthem.
Really excited. He's running around screaming.
So, impressions of the presentation overall?
Excited that Unravel 2 is not only announced but out today. That's pretty exciting. I'm going to go down.
I always love that kind of stuff.
I really enjoyed the first one. I thought that the first one, it was cool, and I thought that it felt when I was playing it like they could do more with it, and it seems like they're doing that this time around, so that's good. I like that. It's really pretty. I like that art style. I like things that are tiny scale. I'm all about it, so I'm pretty excited there.
I personally can't get over the reused assets constantly throughout that presentation.
The loops were
video
weird.
loops that just kept playing over and over. Just even the still images during the Anthem talk, they just kept showing the same concept art repeatedly.
This is a bizarre presentation overall. They had no real big surprises. I think the 2 surprises were Unravel 2, Command and Conquer, but then what should have been
the scale of those is not on the usual mic drop. I love that Unravel 2 is announced and out today, but it is also an indie title. There's not any real huge AAA surprises.
Right. The thing that should have been a big announcement that was super casual was the Star Wars Respawn game.
I was going to say that might be the big
that
surprise.
Was that felt like they put that together this morning.
Well, I mean, we also knew that they were working on one, so really all we got is a name
and a time frame.
A time frame, but really nothing else.
Yeah. A lightsaber will be involved, confirmed.
What?
No.
Jedi's in a Star Wars
with
game?
These presentations, there's always a speculation that they were intending to show something, and then they pulled it. Red Dead went through that. Was it last E3?
I think
the E3
so.
before?
Yeah.
Like that. There was always speculation that they're going to do it. So maybe there was something about the Respawn Star Wars title that they, decide maybe they did pivot to the let's sit in the audience and talk about it presentation.
Maybe they just couldn't get enough loops together.
Well, the presentation did go for 80 minutes, which is a weird time. Maybe there was maybe they were intending to go for 90 and something did get cut.
Although now that the publishers are able to just sort of put on their own shows, they're not really held to any specific timeline or any specific length. If they have more than 60 minutes of stuff to show, they can just go ahead and do that. Why not?
And yet I still had the feeling with all the looped footage and everything and a lot of talking about the games without showing the games or talking about them before they showed them, it did feel like they were trying to fill the hour, even though they went well over an hour and they don't have any, criteria to fill a certain time slot. I feel like this presentation had a specific theme to it, which is this has been a very challenging year for EA, and EA is seen as this kind of corporate juggernaut, like a Disney. We even talked about that at the top of our presentation today. I think that it was very clear to me they wanted to have a more human face on the presentation of EA this year, and less like the corporate machine. Well, they had a lot of indie developers. They had on-screen talking for a lot of time. Even Andrea Renee at the end, she thanked the developers. She didn't say, we saw a lot of great stuff today, amazing games coming out. It was more so about the developers and the people making the games.
Even when Andrew Wilson, the CEO of EA came out, he wasn't wearing a suit. It was a lot more laid back looking. I think it's definitely very, they're cultivating that image and they're cultivating the message.
They also didn't do any crazy, sometimes you get like that deep booming voice being like, no, Andrew Wilson.
Yeah.
And they'll make a huge deal when the top execs come out on stage and be super fancy about it. This was pretty low key in that regard. They seemed to be trying to humanize. They were also humble about hey, well, Battlefront 2 launch didn't go quite the way we hoped. So they're trying to acknowledge some of those things, which I think is good. But there's a lot more work to do than just acknowledging them.
Yeah, and I think we also forgot that they did announce some of their technology initiatives with the cloud game streaming in HD and the Origin Access Premiere that's going to be coming out later this year.
I want to know what the price on that is going to be, because it seems like it could be a good value for the right price. But if it's if you're paying $60 for every few months, then just buy the games.
Well, I think EA Access is what, $5 a month?
And that
right now?
And that would be a crazy good price
for Origin. Yeah, that would be
for like their whole library and all the new games that they put out.
I really do like the fact though that they're moving back towards free trials of full games, and then letting people make the decision of whether or not they want to continue to play it.
Yeah.
Especially with FIFA, you get involved. Yeah. People who might not have played FIFA in the past, the people who play it every year are probably going to buy it. It just becomes part of the routine. But for someone like me who doesn't play FIFA, I'm more of a Madden or an NBA player. Trying out FIFA, playing it, getting hooked on it, it's a great way to get people introduced to it.
So I want to clarify real fast something that that Adam said. Apparently, they did release the pricing info for Origin Access Premier. It's going to be $100 a year or $15 a month.
$15 a month. Or let me do the math on that really fast, Gus, if I can.
I mean,
$100 a year or $15 a month.
$180 a year.
Yeah.
If you do it monthly.
Yeah.
So that's actually
it's big savings, man.
That's a much higher price though than you get with, and obviously this is for PC, so everything's a little bit different. But than Xbox Live, PlayStation Plus, that and Xbox has their own version of
Game Pass?
that too, with Game Pass as well. And although Game Pass is also an additional charge of what is it, $10 a month, something like that.
I'm not sure.
We are seeing expansion
of
that too.
It's not that much, I think.
These are features I normally in the past associated with like Xbox Live Gold, with having access to certain games, or they would have games with gold. But now there's a full service based around it.
If you're the kind of person that would buy Battlefront and Anthem and Battlefield, like, kind of makes sense if you're going to spend $60 on those games anyway. But that's still that's a hard ask for people to spend $100 on anything.
Well, it's $100 up front, and then theoretically you save the money over time the more you play.
Sure, but that $100 up front is like it's a big ask for some people, for a lot of people.
I'm genuinely surprised. No skate.
Especially with the Skate 3 servers coming back online, that was sort of like a hint.
But something occurred to me, which is that again, this is the first, and while they do usually try and do some of their biggest announcements in their own presentations, we do still have 3 platforms coming up.
Right.
I mean, I don't think they're going to make a huge
announcement
at the like Nintendo one, but either Xbox or PlayStation.
Well, even during the Battlefield portion of this presentation, they teased campaign information at the Xbox conference. So they can't show all of their cards immediately. They do have partners that they need to work with.
Yeah, I think I would have expected more out of Battlefield. They didn't show a whole lot.
No, they didn't. They said,
we're going to show more tomorrow.
Come back to Xbox.
No real guys in the audience for every presentation. Just like talk to them for 2 or 3 minutes.
They're like, so how you doing?
What'd you have for lunch? What are you working on now?
There was no real gameplay with Battlefield 5 per se.
No, they showed another trailer and then some.
It's like that sort of in-engine footage, but no pure gameplay.
Super excited about Battlefield 5, actually.
Yeah, I like the World War II setting.
I like the World War II setting as well. It is a return for Battlefield to its origins, with Battlefield 1942 being the first game.
Yeah,
they also specifically said that it's going to be their presentation of the events of World War II, but not necessarily like a direct history lesson on World War II.
I do like how historically accurate they are as far as no loot boxes and no premium packs, though.
And I know when they announced the Battlefield 5. And they had the trailer, people were initially really confused by which parts are story, what part is implied features versus just something to look really cool, and so on. So there's and how this is like steampunk crossed with World War II, looking for a lot of people. So I think that seeing pure gameplay is going to be a good thing for them to show. This is exactly what the game is. A lot of people were confused. I'm not super happy with the initial reveal, and they didn't show a whole lot more about it in this case that we didn't know, except for that Battle Royale mode, which we all think is coming. Not a huge surprise, but hey, it's the unique gameplay that you'll never experience before.
It is interesting to me. So they said that people are going to be able to play Anthem February of 2019. There's no other E3 between now and that launch date.
Yes, you are correct.
So it's interesting to me that in the past, EA Play, they referenced it here towards the end, but a big part of EA Play is they also have some kind of big live gameplay event.
Sure.
Previously, 2 years ago, that was Battlefield 1, and they had a celebrity and influencer tournament with Battlefield 1. Then last year, it was the big Battlefront 2 tournament that they had essentially, or the match that they had. And this year it's FIFA. It's not Anthem, it's people, and I realize that not everything lends itself to a big multiplayer match, but it's interesting that they're doing it with FIFA which is a very traditional title for them, very safe bet. It's like normally they do that with something new and big.
Yeah.
And just the fact that they're not doing that this year makes me feel like that new big thing isn't like ready for prime time yet.
Yeah. Now it is worth noting as well that because EA is also doing their event, their live event, EA Play, they've got what's called a creator cave there, where people can go do hands-on game capture, that kind of thing. So we're going to see a lot more of Battlefield 5, the multiplayer and all that sort of stuff. Actually, aside from the Xbox conference, you'll probably start seeing that popping up from streamers and YouTubers pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
So people will be able to see what some of the multiplayer Battlefield 5 stuff is. So that'll be, but separate from the story that they're going to talk about tomorrow with Xbox. So I think a lot of that will be worth checking out for sure.
Yeah, I think
do a little bit of homework.
There's still a lot more to see and a lot more to show. So I think maybe that's the source of some of the frustration watching this, is not getting the full story and having to wait a little longer.
I was a little confused on Anthem. They said that the world that you go out into is a shared world, and that weather effects and like the environmental changes will all be represented in everyone's game, but they didn't make it clear. And they said you'd be able to play with friends, obviously,
or solo.
But they didn't make it clear if that was you would walk out into the world and you would see someone else shooting a duck or whatever. If it would just be like it would be like an invite only thing. Like, is it going to be MMO style where you would see other people? I don't think so, but they really,
or maybe instancy.
Yeah, they didn't really make, like in Destiny, because it's a very similar game to Destiny. You could go out and in your exploration you would see people in the world,
shooting ducks.
Not in missions, shooting ducks, yeah, which is what you do in games. But
well, those ducks are trouble.
Like that was confusing. And then when he was asked, like, can you play it solo or co-op, he said it was designed with solo in mind, but it would be a harder experience, so it seems like they're really leaning into co-op specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, one of the big concerns about Anthem in general is what people know and think of BioWare for is historically strong, story-driven RPG experiences. So one of the risks there is once you start to branch out into this multiplayer kind of experience, that the storytelling will be diluted.
Yeah. Then they said that where you go and get the story fed to you, like that hub area, you're going to be alone, and it'll be focused on you.
Right, but that also sounds
That's conflicting.
Like you go into your own area, you turn in your mission, you level up, you get the results of your mission, whatever.
If I describe the towers,
and then come back out. Right.
But the problem I had with Destiny 2 in the tower was you would go there and be like, "Thank you, Guardian. You're the only one who has your light back.
Until
now go out and save the world."
All of the other people.
Right. And like, how do you tell a story about you when there's 5 million other people playing?
Right. It's hard to be the hero when everyone's the hero.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if they're going to try and tell that story, I've had that problem with Destiny 2. It felt very dissonant.
Yeah.
Like the story they were telling me was,
it just didn't make sense.
It was like a coat of paint that didn't make any sense with the actual gameplay and the experience that I was having. So be interested to see what BioWare does with this.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the Anthem is really important to them as a studio, especially after the difficulties they had with Andromeda, and to some degree people now kind of having a grudge against Anthem, blaming it for the death of Mass Effect.
Well, if it's so important, and this is such a pillar that they're riding on, I don't understand why they presented the game the way they did, with this Q&A before showing the game. I felt like, normally they have people on stage talking while they are doing gameplay. I just don't understand why they didn't do that this way.
It was a little weird.
They kind of disrupted the flow of the conference and then showed you the gameplay at the very end.
Seems like they were, I don't know, maybe they didn't have enough prepared.
That's what I'm saying. The feeling that I had, they were filling the hour. I just like the tempo of the presentation. I was like, it felt like they were stretching for time in a lot of cases.
Right.
Even on the looped images and things like that. Yeah, I didn't get it. I did like one of the things I liked about Battlefront 2 is, I'm just going through some thoughts I had while the presentation was going on, is that the set piece that they had, the level they had for specifically from Solo, the mining planet that they went to, the name escapes me.
Kessel.
Kessel. And that makes sense. That set actually felt very much like that environment from the movie. I really liked that, especially as they're not spoiling anything. Solo, as they're coming out of the mine and everything else. That battle that takes place is great, and it seems like it was lifted right out of the movie.
It looked great.
Is anyone going to play as non-Lando though? That's the big question. Because
Well, listen, I liked Solo. Yeah, I liked Han Solo.
Yeah. I thought, the one thing I can never knock Battlefront about is how it looks, man. The animations, the environments, like everything looks really good about that game.
I mean, normally I would turn my nose up at them saying, hey, we're going to do stuff from the Clone Wars, just because I don't at all identify with those movies, 1 through 3. But I have to say that what they've done with even like the Battle of Naboo in Battlefront 2, it's fantastic. I love playing in that era. But for some reason, I just don't enjoy watching it as much. But it's great. I'm looking forward to what they're going to do with it.
Yeah, it seemed like they didn't get much of a reaction when they announced they're going to back to the planet Geonosis. It's like, oh, right, that was the name of that planet. I remember now.
Yes.
You clearly did not play enough Lego Star Wars 2.
Oh, okay.
Lego Star Wars 1 was the prequel.
But again, we talked about this during the unveiling. It's like it's a little weird that they only showed General Grievous when they also announced Obi-Wan Kenobi, Count Dooku, Anakin Skywalker.
Maybe you're still in talks for those likeness agreements.
Yeah, it definitely felt like that. Like I wanted to see Obi-Wan, and I wanted to see their take on Obi-Wan, but maybe they're either holding it or there's a reason why they didn't show it.
It has to be Ewan McGregor, right? It has to be.
It's
going to be that era because it's Clone Wars, but like they can't. They would.
Doesn't necessarily have to be. There is a standalone Obi-Wan movie coming.
Yeah, but Ewan is probably going to be that one as well.
Possibly, yeah. But definitely Anakin is kind of locked at this point in time, and Count Dooku's not changing, I don't think.
Well, but getting his likeness.
Christopher Lee's likeness to it could be, but I would imagine that they thought about signing away the rights for that.
Yeah, okay.
They certainly have toys based on them.
Right. Okay.
Video games is probably part of that clause.
Sure, okay.
I would think.
I'm with you.
All right. So overall thoughts on the briefing. I thought it was kind of meh.
Very developer focused. It had a much more human face, I think, and it felt like that was the approach for EA this year. They want to seem less like a corporate machine, like, hey, look at all these people, these incredibly passionate developers working with teams of people to make stuff that they love. I definitely got that feeling coming out of EA Play this year.
I think that they spent 9 minutes on a mobile game, and that says a lot.
What was that? That was a misstep for sure, I thought. It really interrupted the momentum of the show was like, okay, fine, but that drug it way down.
Why not announce that it's a Command & Conquer game at the top? I felt like the pacing, like a lot of stuff, and like you pointed out, when they bring the guys out there in the dark, it's like there's some production elements that weren't quite ironed out, which took me out of the moment a lot of the times when we're trying to figure out what's going on.
Right, like they put the impressive parts after the part that you have to sit through and get bored.
Right, then you have a bad taste in your mouth when you find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I was fine with it. Like I said before we went live with the show, it's all the big things you expect, then hopefully a couple of small surprises. And I was pleasantly surprised by the stuff that we did see. Was it the Sea of Solitude? I thought looked really cool. Unravel 2, it's awesome. That's out today. Despite the weird presentation, I am excited about another Command & Conquer game, even if it is a mobile game. So overall, I'm pleased with it. I thought it went well.
Yeah, not their biggest year.
No.
Not their worst year. It was an okay year.
I'm happy about little things, like little side announcements, like Madden going to PC. I don't know why. I like that. And I, as much as I'm cynical and snarky about, I think everything we're going to hear a lot about Battle Royale games this year at E3. Especially we're going to see things like what we saw with Battlefield, where it's like, we're going to do this. Like, we don't really have any plans for it or what it's actually going to be. We don't have anything to show you, but hey, we're kind of like
it's in
up.
there.
It's happening.
Yeah. So we want to put our stake in the ground for that. But I'm excited. Honestly, I'm excited about Battlefield Battle Royale. I'm really interested in that. I want to see what that's going to be like. But I'm a traditional fan of the Battlefield game. Sure. So, it's like I want to try to see what a World War II version of that looks like.
So is that the thing you're most anticipating from this press conference or briefing?
No, I got to say Unravel.
Unravel?
Too, yeah. I really am looking forward to playing that because I enjoyed Brothers. Ashley and I had a great time playing A Way Out, although it was a weird co-op experience because we were not happy with each other afterwards.
We were like, how could you?
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
What's funny is I thought about bringing my PS4 with me on this trip, and I thought, there's no point. Now I wish I had, so I could play Unravel 2.
Yeah, same. We can probably hunt down a console somewhere.
The best moment of that stream for me was when he called out the developer of A Way Out.
I loved that.
For the Game Awards thing that he did.
You may know him from the Game Awards.
So good.
I got to say, too, I really thought it was a great choice to have Andrew Rene as the host to carry us through the whole thing. I think Sony's always done that pretty well. They have a host, and it feels like a continuous presentation. Yep. I did feel like more of that this year, and I haven't had that feeling in the past with EA.
She was a great host.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, she was awesome. So shout out to Andrea. We are going to be back tomorrow for Xbox and then for Bethesda as well. So I hope you join us for those. Then Monday, we will have a whole show all the way starting with Square Enix in the morning and then finishing up with Ubisoft.
It's going to be a long day on
It's going to be a
Monday.
long day, but it'll be a lot of fun. So I hope you join us for those. By all means, let us know what you thought of the presentation, what you liked being announced and shown, what you wished you had seen, which I know is Skate 4. We got that. And make sure you set your clocks for tomorrow. Xbox, I have a lot of expectations for, because I think that's going to be a pretty crucial briefing for them as a platform.
Let's see all the exclusives.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Well, exactly right. And let's see very specifically Xbox exclusives, but also Xbox single-player exclusives, which I think they've leaned pretty heavily into the multiplayer exclusives. I know that that's worked out really well for them. I'm actually going to be on the Jeff Keighley pre-show for the Xbox presentation tomorrow. I'll be on there with Boogie and Angry Joe and iJustine. So I'll be joining y'all after the fact for the Xbox presentation.
Very exciting.
Yeah, should be fun.
All right. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you get some sleep. Make sure you hydrate. It's going to be a fun time.
Still early. Get some lunch.
Go download Unravel 2. That's what you should be doing.
Yeah, I'm excited about Unravel 2. Let's go do that. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow for more E3. Oh, boy.